Well, there's a lot of people in here. That's interesting. There must be something about money that people want to hear about, see something new, fresh. So, well, I'm sure you know who I am. Joan, Gaya, my partner in crime for this session. So we had a little chat before we came down, and Joan had serendipitously seen this quote. Was it today on Facebook?
I think it was this morning. I have to say that I woke up the other day and I just woke up with an idea about the topic to explore today. And it was around, for me it was more like the idea I woke up with, it was about the emotion that we put to money. You know, we attach a lot of emotion, and then when we want to see it clearly, it's more difficult to us because there is a lot of thinking around it. And then this morning, I just popped into my in social media this quote from Sydney Banks, and I thought, wow, it's what came to my mind, but better explained. Mm-hmm. And I thought, what a beautiful quote to share, to start, and to give everybody in the room the opportunity to think a little bit about it and see what comes up for you.
We thought it'd be nice if you just read that. In terms of money, if you just kind of reflected on that, and then we'd love to, this is a conversation, this is not about us teaching it at the front of the room, this is about really involving all of you. And so just, if you just take a second or two or three to reflect on money in terms of that quote.
Because money is a man-made thing, isn't it? We created it, and then we attach feeling to it, and then we live with that illusion, and we struggle with it, and then we don't struggle with it, and then we struggle again with it, and then we're done. So, anyone want to share any insight or any viewer on that?
And if not, we'll carry on talking, that's fine.
No problem.
We managed to have a good conversation earlier on, so we can continue that way. And my introduction to the principles was because I was looking for money, basically. So money, in some ways, money led me to the three principles, which is interesting. I've repeated the story many times, but it was a Jamie Smart thing that came in, showing me, the secret's so great, show me the money. And I thought he was going to teach me how to make money. And of course he didn't. He pointed me to, and we're not going to do that in here either, just in case you're in the wrong room. What I saw really clearly was that financial security, and I thought financial security was about having a certain amount of money in the bank. And the truth is, I still fall for that story. Even though I saw really clearly and do most of the time that has no relevance on how I feel and my security, nothing whatsoever. And when I heard that from Mr. Smart, it was much more of a gift than any amount of money in the bank could be. Because I didn't have to keep stressing about where I was going to make the money, how I was going to make the money. What if I don't have enough money in the bank? What if I can't pay my rent? What if I can't pay this big bill that the bank wants from me? I am convinced that I would have been in a deep depression if I hadn't seen that. Because it was a huge issue that I was facing at that point in time when I bought those DVDs. And now it's not. And nothing changed on the outside, and I stopped stressing about money. Most of the time. I still get caught up, and that's because of this. So when Joan shared that with me this morning, or earlier on, I see the minute that we see an object out there, This is what I saw when I saw the product. The minute we see an object out there, we're lost. Because now there's the duality. What Rudy and Jack were talking about this morning, the oneness, the essence. That's who we are. That's what we are. And the minute it looks like there's anything else out there that can make us feel anything, we're lost, right? We're now buying into that creation, that illusion that Jack talked about, the creation of illusion. We're buying into the fact, we're buying into the illusion of money can make me feel something. Money can make me feel stressed, sad, bad, evil, unlucky, frightened. Thank you. Good even, yeah, good. Big. I don't know. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it, when you look at the big film stars or the movie, singers that have plenty, and footballers have tons of money. Doesn't seem to make any difference to their mental health, right?
No. A wealth of issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Money has played a big part in our society, and I think we are, when we came to this society or to this world, somebody put us a name and started teaching us things on family, and one of the first things that we learn is money, and the big part that it plays in this society, and as in a logistic way of seeing money, it's very useful. Money is something that allows us to pay the rent, to pay our bills, to have electricity, to pay for food. But when we start attaching that kind of like emotions, strong emotions around that, like I need money to survive, or I need money to live, then we think it's error. I hear in so many coaching sessions when we talk about money, sometimes if I change the word money and put the word air to the person who is talking to me, that would make perfect sense, what they are saying. But it's not air. They're talking about money, which we kind of need. It's very useful. I'm not saying the opposite, but sometimes we take it as if it was air. And then, of course, what happened then? Well, maybe that's what happened. One of the things that happened.
Enslavement.
Is?
A type of enslavement that we're now governed by that fear, or that emotion, the realness of it, and then takes us away from our health and toward the goal of what we need to do to feel reassured, that outside in again.
And the opposite of enslavement, for me, is freedom.
Yeah.
And we've already got freedom. That's who we are.
Something you were saying, it just struck me about the phrase earning a living, to earn life. It's just bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what I mean about, when we come to this life and enter this society, that's the thing that start being a part of us, that thinking, that's what we have, much more thinking around money that we think we have. We have much more. Because we don't have that about shoes. Some people does. See this, this just popped into my mind. When you need shoes, you need a new pair of shoes, for example, or you want a new pair of shoes, you go and you get shoes. And there's no big deal. You go, you get the shoes you need, and then you have the shoes, and then you use them, and you go on, and you don't have all that feeling around it, all that thinking. Or you just go and get your shoes. But we struggle to think like that about money, when really isn't. We are making much more of a big deal of what it really is. And probably sometimes in your life you'll have more, and sometimes you'll have less. And there is a way to learn how to make more, and there's a ways to learn how to spend more, and like everything in life. But we struggle more with that. Why is that?
It's a good question, Joan. Why is that?
Why is that?
Can I relate to that? My brother and myself, we have a law firm, and we deal with clients that owe money to others, so personal bankruptcy. And so they file a petition to the court. The court designate an auxiliary, then we come in. And then you see how much thinking is connected to money. And people's identity is connected to that money. The expectations, the failure, the lack of money. They failed in society because they don't have the money. So they have a lot of thinking, and it takes us quite a while with people just to make them see this differently. They don't need necessarily a huge pile of money, that security is something else. But there is a lot of thinking coming with it. And we take it for granted. It's quite invisible. We never talk about it.
How many people kill themselves, go to the point to kill themselves when they lose all the money they got?
True.
To that point.
We have those cases, yeah. We have people that kill themselves because after a while they don't see any solution for themselves. Yeah. They have to rebuild their life, and their identity is coming with it. Seems for them what it seems like.
And it hits your basic kind of needs, so you need to eat food, you need to have a house over you, so it's kind of like we were doing parenting earlier, this is also another big thing where a lot of thought can get involved. So.
What I invite to explore is that I'm not inviting to explore, for example, that we can't live without money. So what's the point? We created as a society for a reason. It's very useful, and we agree, all the world, to use it. And taking aside people that doesn't want to use it, but normally we can say 99.9% of society. So, as a logistics, it's very useful. It is very useful. But there's other things that we agree in such a way, and that we use in such a way, and we don't attach that big amount of emotion in that way. Like I lose everything. Well, I might kill myself, for example, which a lot of people can think about that. Recession for example, since the recession hit Spain, there's many people killed themselves. And same happened in the United States. I think it was in the 19th century when the big crack in the stock market. And many people killed themselves.
I've seen the difference with the Spanish before. They didn't have loads of money, but they were happy. And now there's a big difference in Spain since the recession.
Yeah. But money, when you were talking, that connection, money, happiness. Mental sickness is created when we put feelings onto objects. And for me, that could be an example.
That's pure misunderstanding. That's what we're talking about, I think, isn't it? Misunderstanding.
I did exactly that. I put my feelings onto money. And after I created the movie site, and I apologise if you heard this story, but it's really topical to what you're talking about, is when I went bankrupt through creating the movie site, I thought, I was a failure, I was unintelligent, I was a waste of space for society, that I was stupid, I had all this on being, I don't know how old I was then, 37, and I saw being 37, not having my own house, going bankrupt, not having anything to show. I had such a thinking of failure around that, and so it's such a perfect example of misunderstanding. But what was helpful about that was when I was trying not to go bankrupt, but at some stage I gave up. I thought, I've got £900 a month just in interest to pay per month without even paying the debt off. What happened is I gave up the fight, and all of a sudden when I relaxed, a new thought popped into my head. It's like, well, you've created a resource that is helping the world. Does that mean you're a failure? And I was like, I hadn't thought that before. And then I thought, well, maybe I'm successful because I'm getting emails every week from all these people who've got access to this resource. Oh, maybe I'm successful. And all of a sudden I questioned what I thought about money. And it's not that I was right or wrong with any of that thinking. The point is that whatever you think about money, that's going to be your experience. Just that fact. And it, to a degree, dissolved my fear of money after that, because I realised money does not have the power to make me feel how I feel.
That's invaluable, right?
What did you say?
I said it's invaluable to know that without a shadow of a doubt. For me personally, I think that's invaluable. That's what I saw about the financial security early on. And like I said, it's not that I don't get caught up on it. I still do sometimes. But I had a really lovely insight on the last retreat we did with Jack. I'd been having a coaching, like we did lots of exercises, we had tryouts. It was actually with you, wasn't it? I was talking about my business and where I'm going with it and what to do next, and I'm not sure and all that sort of thing. And I remember talking to Nick about it and talking about I really love doing events. I love organising events. I really love that. But financially, it's not that lucrative. And so it's not really common sense to do that. So, so let's not look at that direction. Let's look over here. And at the end of the retreat, on Jack's retreat, we always do a closing circle, and everybody at the retreat will share what's happened for them over the retreat, just whatever comes from their heart. And I was the last one in the circle to speak. And as I was listening to I love those closing circles because it's like eating cheesecake to me. It's so rich. It's like, I don't eat cheesecake anymore, but it's that rich feeling of hearing how people have had these transformations, either big or small, as they're going round. And I was the last one, and as the lady next to me, she got emotional, and it just suddenly, it impacted me. It was like, this. You want to do more of this. Stop listening to the money thing and do what you really want to do. And that was huge for me. So it was like, why are you even thinking about money on some level? There's a practical aspect to business, of course there is. But I'm seeing more for myself around doing more of what I enjoy versus stop thinking about the money aspect. Do what we want to do, and do what we enjoy. And I use that word so much at the moment, especially about Viva. I talk about, I just love to see people enjoying themselves. When I was driving here this morning, it's like, this is just people have seen this before, but I really heard the words enjoy versus enjoy. So it's like, be enjoy. That's what life's about, right? It's being enjoy. The rest will take care of itself. I really, really believe that now. I really, really see it, that it's about doing what we love, doing what we enjoy. And so it's not like, there's that working hard for your money. That's like old hat now. Well, and yet most people use the word enslavement. Most people are on that treadmill of working hard for the money.
And that paradigm of, but incentivised, but putting feelings onto objects could be in an old paradigm. That's a good thing because otherwise people wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. That that fear-based attachment. What if? Well, that's good because people will work less, and then our deficit would go up. You know.
Or they would work on what they love instead of, we don't really have to work less. So I work a lot now. I work a lot. I would say that I work a lot now. But I work doing something that I love, and I'm making less money than I was doing before. And I struggle with that too sometimes because I get caught up with that. I'm thinking, why? If I just put this amount of hours in what I was doing before, I would get paid so much. But I don't get paid that much. I make less money, but I enjoy more the time that I'm using to do what I'm doing for a living. And for me, that's more important. As long as I can pay my bills. If I can't pay my bills, then logistics kick in, and I have to do something else to pay the rent and all of that. But if I can do what I love, the energy, the connection I'm going to put to that, that's going to flourish for sure. And I think it's not about working less. Well, it depends. But I think it's about doing more of what you love. And maybe somebody love doing something that you hate. Not everybody loves doing the same. I think we will not do everybody the same.
You're providing an authentic service.
Yeah. And you're making you, how to say, put that in words. You are giving yourself a better experience of life. Because what is here to have? We are here to make money. For me, I'm here to have a better experience of life. I'll try to make money on the way. Don't misunderstand me. I'm going to try to make money on the way. I like money. I'm going to try to make money while doing something that I love, while doing something that I enjoy, that I feel connected to. And then let's see if that can flourish. For me, that's kind of the point.
It's like the horse before the cart, rather than the cart, the money before the horse.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Go for it, Lucy.
So I've got a cleaning business, and my dad's an accountant, so he's always drummed into us that we should have a spreadsheet. I love my spreadsheet. I could not live without it. But obviously, I've got people that I clean for weekly, fortnightly, etc. Sometimes people cancel out and I lose customers and things like that. Sort of pre-principles, I would panic and worry if I'm not going to earn money this week, and I've got to pay my rent, I've got to pay my bills. We have a lot of chats, don't we? I live with my sister, and we have a lot of chats, and it's kind of like, I've lost a couple of customers the last couple of months. I'm still here, I'm still okay. And do you know what? I haven't got the money to do as much as I'd like to do, but I've now got the time, and because I don't worry about not having the money, I just basically go, fuck it, I'm just going to go and do what I want to do. And then I end up with more money. And my spreadsheet will say, oh, you've only got £100, and I'll say, I'm going to go down to Debs this weekend. Have I got the money? I've got petrol in the car. What more do I need? It's there. Go. See what comes of that. And when you're in that space, because you can feel the abundance without it, you just trust, and it's there or it isn't, and it's fine. Either way.
I love that, Lucy. Thanks for sharing. What strikes me about what you're saying is that for me sounds like you're like living more in the present moment versus worrying about the future. And I mean, I was a born warrior, I was going to say, but I used to spend a lot of time worrying about, and I caught myself
actually
doing
saying, for me this month, my spreadsheet says I've got no money. Well, not a lot later. But if I look into December, but I'm like, well, go with it.
Because all we've ever got is this moment right now.
What we need.
We've only got this moment right now, right? That's all we've ever got is this moment.
You know, that bought me €85 to my group today. Cheers! Wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
There's a moment-to-moment experience that we're living in, and
It's just so much more freeing, isn't it?
yeah, if we can live less in fear, worry, anxiety,
Yeah.
we're gonna. You were talking about experience of life. That's it, isn't it? Joan?
Yeah, and that misunderstanding exists also at the other side of the spectrum. I've had the chance of earning
Lots of money.
and having a lot of stuff. And at the age of 40, I discovered it didn't make me happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that was a big eye-opener for me. Yeah, it was a big eye-opener. I thought, wow, this is what I was told always by my parents. Work hard, get a degree, make money. And then when you have the stuff where you dreamed up, you thought, oh, well, this isn't doing for me. And now what the principles brought for me is that I see what it is about. That I can see where my happiness comes from. What gives me a grounding in life. And it's not the stuff, it's not the objects. So I'm no longer attached to these objects, and I can let them go, and my life becomes so more easy. And I know this sounds a little bit cocky, because in a way you're saying, yeah, when you have money, it's simple to say, yeah, I can let them go. But believe me, it changed my life big. That became a burden. And now I can live from moment to moment, and I see myself need nothing or far less outside. I don't need, well, don't understand me wrong here.
And to have truer friendships as well.
Exactly.
When you've got it all, you have many, many friends. When?
That's part of it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's the veil is lifted when it's taken, and that's a gift as well. Because then you see clearly what you're meant to be doing here and who is attracted to you, and hopefully you can work together.
Absolutely. Thank you for. Yeah.
I know what to say.
And thank you, Susie.
When on Friday I was at another conference and a lady spoke at that conference and she did an awful lot of work. I'm not exactly sure where it was, it might have been Sudan or somewhere like that, but she brought pictures of the devastation and the way that they lived, and she was talking a bit about the mental health, and she brought pictures of the mental health unit, and they would change their beds. What she said she had seen, I mean, because the areas that she worked in was very, the poverty was widespread. And what she said she had seen was that there was no difference. Once she had seen the principles and she saw these people as people, none of the problems that they had were any different. If you shut the doors in this room and went round and said, and everybody was honest about what their problem was, she said, if you shut the door and got below those, their problems were no different to the problems of the people here. It wasn't whether you're a millionaire or whether you don't know, whether you've got no money and you're scrounging in bins. The problems that you have are identical. It's just
It's
different.
the areas where you see it and you don't see it, like we were saying earlier.
And she said she was gobsmacked when she came across the principles, because she would go into these areas and she would think that the problems were the poverty and all this stuff, and she was like, I need to get the money from the West and take it here, it's money, it needs money to solve these problems. And what she said when she actually went, she said the joy that was there when these people were joyful, and it came, and they were just as happy and joyful when they were depressed when they were depressed, they had all the problems in there, there was no different problems going on whatsoever.
Thanks for sharing that, Jeff.
Thank you very much. It's like an iceberg. We see it in our trade. It's like an iceberg. The financial, you can solve in a blink of an eye. Really, we can. From where we're sitting. That's the easy part of the job. We have no printing machine. But when you scrape the financial away, then all the rest serves.
The insecurities are still.
Yeah, and all the problems are the same in every family. Problems with the children, problems with the parents, problems with whatever, name it. All the problems are ours.
So, just to finish, I would like to share something. Just a little bit of a reflection about the quote we share to start. It's like, for me, it's, if you want to make money, make money. If you don't want to make money, don't make money. But if you think your state, your feeling you're experiencing now, even if it's joy, even if it's happiness, even if it's worrying, even if it's being preoccupied, if you think that is being caused by money, then you're lost in the confusion, in the illusion of the moment. So for me, remembering that doesn't mean that I don't get lost, but it means that when I get lost, I know where the direction is. And it's that I don't need to see at that time to go to that direction. I know it's there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.